channel, All Things Business. Al Thomas here for part 2 of our credit. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed part 1. Today we're going to talk about the FICO score factor. These are things that credit agencies look at, the lenders look at, and you want to make sure you're looking great. What does that mean? Well, it makes up of a couple items. Number one is called the payment history. Payment history makes up 35% of your FICO score. Also, the amount that you owe counts toward 30%, and we'll break this down in a minute. And next, the length of credit history counts toward 15% of you being approved or denied. Next, the credit mix is 10%, and I'll talk about that in a second. We'll break this down. And your new credit is about 10%, and we'll get to that in a second. So let's talk about your credit history. They want to know how long have you had credit. Very important, very important. For example, one of my credit cards is so old that I can't get rid of it. I could, but I don't because it started my history and it counts toward everything else. If I cut it, it makes my history look shorter. So you want to just keep and hold on to that card. And we'll talk about cards a little bit later, either this session or the next one coming up. So you want to make sure that your credit usage. So here's another thing, the amount owed. So you want to keep your usage under 30%. This is what they look at. I'm going to use 10,000 for example. Let's say you had credit cards or you had credit usage of 10,000. 30% of 10,000 is 3,000. As long as you keep your usage under the 3,000, which is under 30%, it's fine. Once you start creeping up to 6,000 of the 10,000, all of a sudden, that's what happens. So you want to keep your utilization low because as you keep it low, your credit score goes up. As your utilization goes up, your credit score goes down. So be very understanding of that. So they look at the length of the credit history. The longer you had credit, the better it looks for you because they have something to evaluate it. Next, they look at new credit. How long ago did you apply? And here's another tip. You want to apply it once in 90 days. Don't keep replying because the more inquiries you have, the worse you look. Let me say it again. The more inquiries, do not use your credit. Do not keep dinging your credit. It's going to make you look bad. Each inquiry takes about 2 years to automatically drop off your credit rating or your credit score unless you have somebody clean your credit up. Wink, wink. So soft, and there's different kind of inquiries. It's what they call a soft inquiry when you're going to move into a house or for the PG&E, the gas or whatever. That's what they call a soft credit. It doesn't ding your credit. Our hard credit pull is an inquiry on your credit. And that's what hurts most people. And a lot of people have 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 inquiries. If somebody just ran it. You go buy a car and they'll run your credit to death. The 3 or 4 lenders, they find, oh, we got your loan approved. But then again, your score went down because they ran it to too many places. So you want to make sure that you have that handled in a proper way. And I can also assist you if you leave your name and number down below. We can help you with that as well, with your credit, with helping you with a way of looking at your credit as far as tracking it, make sure nobody is taking it. Okay, so we got that in place for you. So let's move on. Let's move back for a second. The credit history. Well, let's go back. The credit history is 35%. How much you owe. Now remember, as you have more credit cards, and let's say you're going from 10,000 to 20,000 in usage and or line of credit, now they say, well, what's your 10% usage on 20,000? Well, it's 6,000. See, so as you move up, as long as you stay under the utilization, you're fine. So these are very important things to understand about your credit. Now, what makes up the history? And also paying on time. Remember, I said in the last video, I pay once, twice, 3 times a month because it looks better that way. They're like, wow, this guy, if he needs some extra capitalists, and I get texts, emails all the time. Hey, you need some more hey, you want to raise your limit. Why? Because I'm credit worthiness. Does that make sense? And I don't pay the minimum. I pay it all off, or I pay most of it off, and I pay some more a couple weeks later, another one, be way before the due date. So when the due date comes around, it's a 0. Very important. Now, the length of your history, the average history on your account is so important because they want to see how long have you been in the game of credit. And the type of credit, this is another thing called the usage. Number one, let's talk about installment accounts. Let's say you had a bill that you paid installment accounts on every month. One would be your credit card. That's what they call installment account. It might be a card to a credit card to Best Buy or something, installment account, or a Macy's furniture account. Those are called revolving accounts. When you have revolving accounts, are from department stores. The revolving account, do you pay on time? How much is your limit? This is all important. Your credit card balances, and also how high is your limit, and also lines of credit. These are all what they call things they look at as far as the type of account you have. This is why they have mixed usage. Remember I said a minute ago, mixed usage, they count 10% of your credit on mixed usage. So the more you have, like for example, I've got paid off cars, the Bentley, no, I was paid cash, the Mercedes, all these closed accounts, counts good. Okay, great. He paid on time, perfect. He paid it off, perfect. How much credit card does he have? He pays them on time, perfect. These are things that they look at. How long have he had the credit cards? For a long time. What are his limits? Wow, they're high. Why? Because he's worthy of having and handling credit. Does he have enough liquid assets? Yes. So that's why when you get approved, depending upon what you put on the paper, it will determine your credit card limit. Your credit card limit. Now, one of the things about credit card limits and lines of credit, the longer you stay with them, the lower balance you keep. Next time around, they can up it, and I get it up all the time. They call and ask me, now with my credit cards, have you noticed now with credit cards, hey, you don't have to pay the whole thing off. We can do a loan on it on your own credit card now. I mean, it's just getting so creative because why? People are desperate today. See, folks, don't let that be you. Don't fall in the trap of getting over your head in debt. Credit's great as long as you use it to build your empire. Credit is great. There's good credit and there's bad credit. Good credit it helps you build. Bad credit is when it builds, it takes away from you. So you want to have it where it's working in your favor. As far as I'm concerned, none of them make me interest off me. I'm the one that fell through the cracks, and I want you to be the same kind of person that they're not making money. You're using the system, OPM, other people's money, the banks. That way you can capitalize on it. These are very important. But without credit, because we live in a credit society, unfortunately, everything revolves around credit. Every 30 days is credit. And I want to put you in a position where you will succeed in the credit game. And I've got part 3 coming up, and we're going to talk about credit cards. We're going to also talk about business cards, commercial loans rather than residential loans. We're going to also talk about FHA, all the other type of loans that's available. So stay tuned for the next one coming up very soon. Thank you so much. I hope this added some value to your day. God bless. Bye-bye.